Oh, good morning. I have to confess to not having slept a lot of the night and then having fallen into a deep sleep at 5 o'clock and having vivid dreams. And it reminds me of, and then woke up at a start at 6:30. And it reminds me of how much of our unconscious comes alive in our dreams, and a lot of our anxieties. And much of my themes of my dreams are often in foreign countries or getting lost. And last night, I knew I was dreaming, but I was in Portugal and I just couldn't remember where I was staying. And I kept trying to get different trains and buses, and all these lots of different things kept happening en route. And I knew I was going to be late for something. Very interesting when we actually realize just what's bubbling beneath the surface. But the nicest part of the dream is I got on this bus and we got to the edge of a river. And the driver, it nearly turned into like we were in India. And he says, just hold on tight, we're all right. And he dropped off the riverbank and it was like a ford, and my feet were cooled in the water as he drove through the river and up the other side. So interesting as to actually what happens. They say that our conscious mind is just the iceberg on top of a great big ocean of ice. So that's me. So it's quite good that we are doing some deep grounding today of recognizing there's so much of who we are that we don't know, we never will know. And yet we can become present in our bodies, and we can take dream journals, which I think is really, really an interesting thing to do. And we can feel grounded. So that's what we're going to do today. It's a set called Releasing Tension and Balancing Sexual Energy, which is very much a life force energy. And so we're going to work with that energetic field today. So coming into, we're going to start with tuning in and then just doing some balancing, grounding exercises before we do the set. Coming into comfortable seated posture. Feeling yourself grounding through your sitting bones, through your spine. Feeling your breath in your body. Softening your face. And knowing that as much as we know about this world, there's tenfold times that we have no concept of, we've just got ideas about. But when we feel grounded, we feel connected, and we feel a sense of belonging. There's a feeling of realness, even if we don't fully understand it. Just feeling into your body. Support from the back of your spine, chin dropped. Softness at the front. Surrendering to all that we do not know. We are helpless children on a planet that is suffering, and we're part of that planet. Feeling ourselves now supported and surrendering to that which we do not know and that which we've forgotten, that at one time, maybe before life, we did know. Bringing our hands to the heart center, rubbing them. feeling right into the sternum. Connecting with what we call this golden chain of wisdom figures who've gone before, who have touched the consciousness of the gods. And let's breathe in a bit deeper. And out. And in to begin. Om Namo Gurudeva. Om Namo Gurudeva. Breathe in. Allow the vibration that flows through us and connects us to ground us to earth and to the infinite, and release. We're going to start with doing a few warm-ups on grounding. And I'm taking them from a book by Alexander, the Alexander technique. And it connects so very much to yoga, which I'm sure that he also practiced. These are all forms of yoga. So he says that in bioenergetics, the really important thing is not to be stiff and tense. So you start with feeling a bit stiff. Feel the normal thing is this feeling I'm out of control. Like in my dream, I've got to start to try and find control. Then release your hands, and particularly release your knees from a locked position, and feel yourself bouncing just up and down. And move forward on your feet so you're balancing more on your toes, but your heels are on the ground. And if you can, feel that vibration now that is allowed to go through your body when it's not stiff. Just stay connected with your heels, your toes, and slowly move up and down, just bouncing up and down, not into a full squat. Your feet are about a foot, 18 inches apart. Just squatting down softly, everything soft, giving in to the natural bounce, the natural rhythm of being flowing in life. Allowing the body to release and feel supported. Pushing your belly out. You're letting go, as I did on that bus. As he dropped down into that river, there was ground underneath. My feet were cool. And I laughed and smiled at my own feelings of helplessness. And your legs may feel a bit tired, but stay in this grounding, softening position. Now come up, just moving your feet, pummeling them a bit, and putting your hands, the knuckles of your hands, into the small of your back, pressing them into your belly, and moving again on your toes, keeping your heels on the ground, bending back, feeling that stretch. Grounding, so your heels and your toes are on the ground, but your weight is forward towards your front. See if you can relax and feel your body vibrating into the earth, being supported. Belly out, long breaths. And coming back up. Now drop down, knees soft. All of his exercises seem to have very soft knees, and drop down so your head is beneath your heart. And hang there, feeling the stretch behind the legs. Again, slightly pressing forward onto the toes, keeping the heels on the ground. Soften the shoulders. Just allow yourself to drop and trust that which we do not know, that which we've forgotten. Allowing ourselves to feel connected. Soften your face. Keep your knees soft. Notice where you're still resisting. And slowly fold yourself back up and come down into sitting to start the set. So we're going to do the first few exercises are very much around releasing any form of tension. So we're going to start on our knees. And if you've got sore knees, you're going to need to adapt this, but I'm going to show you the full exercise to begin with. So it's starting on your knees, and you're going to put your head down to your forehead on the ground, and one leg is going to go out behind you. Shoulders dropped. Hands facing up. Now, if that's too hard because your knees can't do it, just allow your leg to come out to the side and straight forward, and the other one back and bend over. So you're feeling the stretch down the leg that's straight. And stay in that posture, allowing a release to happen. Just as that bus dropped down into what I thought was going to be mud, and it wasn't. It was a firm ground. It was a ford going through a river. I was breathing long and deep. Stay with that sense of feeling both helpless and surrendered, the forehead on the ground, trusting that it's not a coincidence that you are here on this earth at this time. Feel all the contact points. If we cannot allow ourselves to bring this to consciousness, it'll go into our somatic, into our bodies. Our bodies will start showing us something wrong. surrendering and allowing yourself to surrender that which is bigger and releasing into that. You're in the full posture, keeping your hands up so that they're facing upwards towards the sky. Consciously surrendering to the earth through the brow point, allowing all the pressure points that we're putting our bodies into to release the tension, and slowly come out of this position, and we're going to change legs. Moving to the other leg and slowly coming down. Consciously releasing and trusting. But if you're in physical pain, come out of the posture. Don't put stress on the joints. Drop down to that bottom of the riverbed, feeling held in all that we do not know, the mysteries of this universe. Whether our time on earth be long or short, that we fulfill that which we've come for. Slowly come out of the posture. Just going to put my blind down because otherwise I might be sunbeamed up to the heavens. Yeah. And we're staying on our knees if you're able to, or stay in easy pose, or sit on a chair. Actually, that's this next exercise. Next few exercises will work perfectly on a chair. And we're going to start massaging in a rhythmic movement on our neck, right down to the collarbone. We're working the fifth chakra and massaging it just with one hand, dropping down into the earth. Continue feeling supported. When we have in dream life, when there's debris of the day, it floats in space like debris until we can find a grounding for it, and ultimately a voice for it. Allowing that voice to be manifested through the grounding of coming down, dropping down. It's always going down to the darkness of the earth, the unknown, that we are known. Massaging. The unspeakable becomes speakable. The unknown is revealed when we are released down and we don't resist it. And eventually in my life, when these moments happened, I've thought and realized I've always known this. I've always known it. I've known it in my body. I've known it in my headaches. I've known it in my belly aches. I've known there's tension and that there's a reason for that tension. Allowing that voice to emerge. So like a wave movement up and down your neck. Now we're going to move to the ears. There's a lot of meridians held all over the body, in the ears just there are in the feet. And so we're holding our hands, the butt of our hands is going to massage the ears with our fingers together and slightly out. So massaging the ears. Again, grounding, feeling connected back to all that was and is. Through these sensitive points of the ears, that which we hear and that's which we feel, that's which we voice, that which we see. And that which we don't see, that which there's too much interference to actually hear, allowing ourselves to hear that which we cannot normally hear. Sinking down into a sense of presence, of being fully human, which is combining both the earth and the heavens. Feel your breath coming in long and deep. Let your belly really push out. Notice where there's tension. Sink your shoulders down. Lengthen your neck. Experiment with the fine tuning of your own body. Just listening for small clues of the dreamlike states we go in that are alluding to the fragments of our own knowing. Last few seconds. Stay fully tactile, embodied, present to this very simple but profound moving of the ears. And release it. Take a deep breath in. And then out. Always the movement between the down and the up. But in life, we've tended to always want to rise up to the higher centers, especially the mind and the head. And then we're disembodied, so we are like a dream that has no sense of context. And now we're just dropping down into the full weight of the earth being held. I'm going to come now to the third exercise, which is sitting up as straight as we can, still on our knees, or if you want to be cross-legged, and Venus lock behind the back, right at the base of the back. Feeling that, pulling it open of the heart center now. And we're moving, breathing into the left. So we're doing a spinal twist into the left and out to the right. Again, try to release into the posture so that we're feeling the tension, but also the release and the surrender. Stay in the movement. Feel yourself connecting to the tension and the release, because this is what we're living in. We live under vast pressure. and yet we can be very light as we walk upon the earth. So we're simulating being present and relaxed and surrendered in tense moments, which is really what we experience all day long. You need a break, take a break. Otherwise, explore the tension. Explore your breath. Be curious. Feel where there's real tension, what's happening in your neck. Is it participating or resisting? Last few seconds. And release. And feel the let down, the release. Enjoy it. Breathing long and deep. And coming down now to lying on your back. You're going to have your legs quite far apart. So your legs are stretched apart. Feeling that stretch, and your hands are going to go onto your shoulders. And we're going to have to modify this. I know I am for myself. And the whole posture is coming up and over to one side. You're not going to keep going up and down. So you just see how you bring your whole torso up. I have to lift one leg up in order to get up. Bring one elbow down to the opposite leg and hold it there with some long, deep breaths. See if you can again experiment with holding the tension and yet being surrendered. Just imagine that bus I was on, surrendered to the river bed, holding it firm. Notice and be curious about what's tense in your body, the muscles between your legs. And allowing those bioenergetics to really ground us, enliven us, to be fully alive. It nearly is to feel the electricity of all that is to come through us. Coming back up and then back down, muscle by muscle, very slowly come back down to the ground. And we're going to do it on the other side. Lifting up your head, I have to lift a leg up to give my body a bit of a leverage, bringing the other elbow down to the other knee. Feeling the stretch, surrendering the shoulders, the whole body to that position. noticing the resistance, recognizing it, being kind to the resistance, but also letting your body know that it's not going to be hurt. Long, deep breaths using the belly breath. And we're going to repeat that sequence again, vertebra by vertebra, dropping down to the ground. Hands on the shoulders behind, soften down to the earth. And then vertebra by vertebra, we're coming back up again. Pulling ourselves over to the opposite knee, to the opposite elbow. Long, deep breaths. You may even find you can put your forehead onto your knee. Surrender. To the vastness of the ocean, and yet the tiniest butterfly wing is noticed. Feeling this contrast between the vast and the tiny. So slowly coming back down again for the last time. And then up to the other side. Releasing tension. So we feel the tension in order to release it. And coming back up and down again. And relax in this posture for a moment, still with the legs apart. And then giving yourself a bit of a rock and a roll on your back. Everything moving towards the fluid rather than the rigid. As we age, we do become more and more rigid, but as long as we have life, we have the rhythm of the breath. Nothing is ever still. There's always a vibration until that moment when that we leave our bodies and we become completely still. So feeling that vibration coming through you. Now, the next exercise is a slightly unusual one. It's working on particular meridians, again on releasing tension. So we're going to be on our coming up onto our heels again. You can actually come into cow and then go down onto your elbows. So hopefully you've got something cushioned underneath you and up on your knees. So all the pressure is on your knees and your elbows, and you're going to walk up and down on your mat. So it's a crawling motion, moving up and down, backwards and forwards on the knees and your elbows. If you have very painful knees, I suggest you just do it in a triangle pose. So you're just moving up and down in triangle. And again, explore. It's like exploring the universe. True science is all around exploring, not knowing. It's being asking the questions rather than forcing the answers. What would it be like to have no feet or hands and to be walking around like this on elbows and knees? And coming back into baby pose. Allow your body to drop down, your knees wide apart. And rest here a moment. There was once a young girl, and she was very much in love with a prince. And he asked of her, to marry me, you must have your hands chopped off. And she did it. And as time went on, she longed to get her hands back. And nature conspired with her and gave her a pair of silver hands made out of the finest silver, mined and melted from the earth. The whole kingdom admired these hands, but they had no feeling in them. Until one morning she woke to find her hands returned. The silver had melted away. So much of life, it's an illusion. To so much of life, we get paralyzed, we get broken, we get cut off. Until we can feel again and bring ourselves back from that dissociation and feel into the fullness of our bodies. A gruesome fairy story alluding to those parts of us that get cut off. And now coming back up, the last two exercises are a bit more strenuous. The full one is in lotus, full lotus, which there's no way I can do full lotus. So just do your best you can in cross-legged. And we're going to shuffle ourselves forwards on our fists, feeling, again, it's nearly like we're disabled. Feeling into the earth, and the whole weight of your body is being held momentarily. In full lotus, it would be held only on your hands, but for me, maybe you, It's also on my ankles, just moving backwards and forwards. Last few seconds. And coming to stillness, just stretching out, catching your breath, feeling into the returning of any part of you that has felt that it's been cut off through life. We deny many parts of us, and we cover it with silver, with finery, with personality, with all sorts of things, until we return back to the fullness of the feeling of the fullness of being human. We're coming now to the last exercise before we do a relaxation, and this is a back sitting on your bum, hands behind you, and we're going to come up into a back platform. Do as best as you can, balancing on your heels and on the heels of your hands and your feet. Back as straight as you can make it, slightly looking forward. Feel the tension. And either do long, deep breathing, or you can do a breath of fire deep down into the belly. See what's happening with your feet. Feel into every part of your body and take notice of it. Into your wrists. I've got a bit of arthritis in my wrists. Your bum, holding your bum up and tight. Feel into your bum. Last few seconds. And drop your bum down. Hold over. Release your wrists and your ankles, your feet. Be kind. Feel into each part of us in life, that sense of having things cut off. And we choose to cut off very often because it's a practice we learn to survive with, just like the princess did it so that she could marry the very person she wanted to. There are a lot of Grimm's fairy tales like that. Stretching down over your feet, feeling into your toes, stretching down, long legs, feeling back so we can release the tension. Coming back from numbness. Coming back from the silver hands to our own flesh and blood, that recognizing that we were perfect all the time. Allowing ourselves to release shame, fear, anger, Feel into the largeness of who we are as we melt into the universe and the tiniest part of who we are. And slowly come back down into lying. Cover yourselves. And we're going to just do a final few minutes of a meditation of total relaxation in corpse pose. Allowing your mind to wander, feeling each part of you connecting to the earth, softening down, soften your face. Let your eyes go up to the top of your head. Let your tongue, notice where your tongue is in your mouth. As if your mouth was a whole universe. Let the tongue rest and settle. Feel into your shoulders, letting them drop. Letting that being supported by that ford, the strength of the ground beneath the water. We are not separate beings. We're connected. The breathing come easily. Allowing yourself to come round, remembering what it's like to be held through the tension, through the ways we cut off our hands, the way we support ourselves in our own journeys through silver hands, until we can come back to the full feeling of being human and fully human, alive. Stretching yourself out till you can feel each part of you, celebrating that you're alive in each cell of your body. And slowly rocking yourself back, coming up to sitting. Being kind to the parts of us in our own self-care systems that because pain has been too big, we've had to cut our hands off in certain ways so we don't have to feel, and slowly allowing ourselves to come back and be supported, and that we are perfectly perfect the way we are. Bringing our hands into prayer mudra, we close with 3 satnams. Just feeling into your body being kind, gentle, and in creating our own Marvel magazine, but how marvelous we are. Breathing deeply in to begin. Sa na sa sa. No. Breathe in. Honor this breath. It's given us the capacity to live in this moment. And then release it back. Satnam.